Alright, so we got the 1069 spoilers, and this is easily the best chapter of Egghead. Like, coming into this chapter, we had a lot of high expectations, and it's literally meeting all of them. Like, pretty much everything that we wanted to happen is actually happening. And I have to apologize to Oda here, because I know he watches all of my videos, but in the previous video, I kind of underestimated him. And I didn't think he was going to deliver here, because it would have just been too good. But apparently, he's giving us our cake, and we're eating it too, because let's just get right into it. Gear 5 Luffy versus Awakened Zhoniin Lucci. Yes, we're just going straight into the battle here. Luffy going into Gear 5, which I talked about previously. I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't think it would be that easy. I thought maybe Luffy just couldn't go into Gear 5 because he didn't train it enough, or there was going to be some kind of stigma to it, or I don't know, just something was going to happen that was going to stop him from doing it at the least. But no, Luffy can just go into Gear 5. No strings attached. It's just Gear 5 and that's it. But not only that, he's taking on Awakened Zhoniin Lucci. But before we get into him, let me just quickly go over what happened at the end of the previous chapter so we know how we got to this point. So CP0 showed up to Egghead Island, and of course they were denied entry by Vegapunk, and they were just like, nah, we're coming in anyway, and they busted in, and it eventually got to the point of where Atlas confronted Lucci. And Lucci was like, I ain't playing around, and he goes right into his Zoan form and Roku Ogons her in the face, like the Six King pistol. And he just takes her out like that with one shot. But meanwhile, Luffy had Bonnie on his shoulder because he was taking her up to Labo phase above the clouds as per Vegapunk's order. But as he was going there, he ran into Lucci, who had just defeated Atlas, and then they notice each other. That's where the chapter ended. So like, coming into this one, Luffy's like, all right, bet, Gear 5, and he's going after Lucci, who's like, okay, Awakened Zhoniin form. So about that, Lucci's awakened form resembles a big cat with a mix of Chopper's Monster Point and Who's Zone. Hey, also guys, we're going to be getting the full summary in the next 2 days, and I will be making a video on that as soon as we get it, so subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. So that oddly makes sense, right? I mean, that's what we expect the typical Awakened Zoan to be. Because we saw when we were first introduced to Awakened Zoans with the impelled down jailers, they kind of resemble this description, although not as big as Monster Point. But if we kind of compare them to like what Luchis Form is, which he already kind of looks like them, to be honest, at least stature-wise. But interesting that he looks like Who's Who, because Who's Who had the Ancient Zoan like saber-tooth tiger fruit. So I guess he looks less like a jaguar now, more like that, but he's monstery like Monster Point. But Lucci being an Awakened Zoan is something that we also speculated about. At least me and Sai did like 2 weeks ago in our collab. We thought that, you know, what was going to make Lucci powerful enough to match the power creep coming out of Wano? And aside from just off-panel training and all that stuff, Awakened Zoan would be something that could make him that strong, or at least put him into the category of someone who can be a threat or just raise the stakes. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Vincero. If you aren't familiar with Vincero yet, they make exceptionally crafted and stylish watches at affordable prices. Other premium handcrafted watches don't fit the everyday person's budget, but now you can finally own a high quality and lasting timepiece without going broke. So guys, check this out. So I've never really been one to wear watches, but now that I have this Vincero, like, how can I not? Like, look how this thing just instantly makes me look cooler. I got the Chrono S because this thing is incredibly aesthetic, but they have tons of other amazing designs as well. Some that are even more aesthetic than what I have right now. So guys, if you're looking for the perfect holiday gift to help elevate your style or someone you love, while also saving 20% off, as well as getting free shipping site-wide, use my link in the description, which is vincerocollective.com/Zhoniin. That way you'll also be supporting the channel. So once again, that is VENCERO collective.com/Zhoniin. Thanks, guys. Going further into the spoilers, it says that the fight is in Tom and Jerry style, and Luffy overwhelms and terrifies Lucci. So this is amazing. And this is understandable because this is pretty much what Luffy did to Kaido. Like, once he went into Gear 5, things started to get real animated. Because, you know, Oda wanted the apex of Luffy's power to be comical and not serious, like the cliche final power-ups of other MCs and whatnot. So I guess he's handling Lucci in a very similar way that he handled Kaido. Beating him down, actually terrifying Lucci here, which is something that we typically wouldn't see from a character as confident and serious as Lucci is. So like I said, we're getting everything we wanted here, but that's not even the rest of it because there's more. But we're cutting away from that for a second and we're going to Aki Inu because he's holding back Kizaru from going to Egghead Island. And this is like hilarious because this is pretty much what he's been doing these last couple arcs, right? Because I think it was like chapter 907 when they found out that Big Mom was going to make contact with Kaido. And Kizaru was like, shall I head out, Sakazuki? And he was like, no, Borsalino. Remember, there's an unknown military force in Wano. So that's just hilarious. He's stopping him again. He's like, no, don't go to Wano. No, don't go to Egghead either. I mean, obviously, these guys are going to get into the nitty-gritty of things and we're going to see the admirals fight everyone. But that's probably final arc stuff. But for now, Aki Inu's like, no, we got to save all of us for the final arc, guys. We can't get our hands dirty yet. We have CP0 there. But also, I'm sure there's another reason why Aki Inu doesn't want him to go. I do think Aki Inu has like a hard face turn in him before the series is over. And I do think that he's a part of SWORD. But anyway, coming back to Luffy versus Lucci, Luffy defeats and KOs Lucci. That's it. Just one chapter beatdown here, and I love those. Big fan of the one chapter beatdown, especially when it's like at this level of power, like Gear 5 Luffy just beating down Awakened Zoe and Lucci. Like that just sounds like a video that somebody would make, you know, like a hypothetical matchup, but it's actually happening. I can't wait to read this chapter. But there's more to that. But before we get into it, let's just go over the final piece of these spoilers where it says, and a little bit of lore about Devil Fruit. So that's super exciting. Big fan of the One Piece lore, of course. One Piece has some of the best lore in the game, but we're getting more about Devil Fruit, something that we don't really know too much about, surprisingly. I mean, we know how they work for the most part, but we don't know where they come from and the finer details of it, like the true nuance of the Devil Fruits, which I hope we're getting more insight into it because we expected that coming into this arc because Vegapunk is supposed to be like the top expert on Devil Fruits in the world, right? But I'm not going to leave you there with just Luffy defeats and KOs Lucci because it doesn't seem it's that simple. There's more to it in this chapter because these additional spoilers that we got say that Lucci gets recovered before the end of the chapter due to his awakening, and we see him at the end of the chapter. So that's really exciting, and this goes into what I was talking about, how it just can't be that easy. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Luffy just completely wash Lucci and that's it, get a big W, and then, you know, Lucci gets the big L, but it just would be too easy if it happened like that. So Lucci's getting up here because of his Awakened Zoan form, and that's understandable because that's one of the first things that we learned about Awakened Zoans. Because back in Impel Down, we saw the Minotauros jailer get up, and Crocodile was like, he was revived, of course, that's an Awakened Zoan type ability. Their abnormal resilience is their strong point. If we keep wasting time, the 3 from before will be up too. So it's like, yeah, this was always the thing with them. And Lucci is getting it even faster than the rest of them, of course, because he's much stronger. And I wonder if he is going to get like a power boost from this possibly. But like I said, something is going to happen here. Maybe the Seraphims are going to join in Lucci here and taking on Luffy, or Kaku's going to show up and Stussy, and I really wouldn't be surprised if Kaku has an awakened Devil Fruit as well. I certainly hope so, because I always thought his giraffe fruit kind of made him look goofy, you know. Hopefully if he does have an awakened, it makes him look more imposing. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you thought about these spoilers in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.